Hiya, my lovelies. Today we're working on holiday cookies, number 4 in the series of 5 this year. And I'm going to be doing several techniques, specifically to hide a couple of imperfections. Now, these you can make your own sugar cookies. You can use these on store-bought cookies, these techniques. There's a wide variety. You don't have to know how to cut out sugar cookies, but that's what I'm using today. What happens if you catch the ends and they're a little bit darker brown? I'm not mad at that because we're going for a vintage look, but you can also cover it up with a bit of wafer paper. And this is purchased on Amazon. I'll link in the description box. It's a thickness of 0.3 millimeters, which is quite thin. And I'm going to give it a nice vintage look with some dusting powders that are 100% edible from nicholaslodge.com. But the wafer paper is, think communion wafers or toppings of cakes. It's not an edible icing sheet, but it's wafer paper. It's a lot of fun. There's a bumpy side and a shiny side, which is sort of flat. And I'm just going to rip them. You can draw with an edible marker, your cookie cutter if you have it, or just a shape. I'm going to pop it on top. And the white will show the green royal icing a whole lot easier than the green on the back of the cookies, than the green on green cookies. Now, I had these available. Again, you can get store-bought cookies. You can use these techniques on chocolate chip cookies, drop cookies, a whole slew of, your imagination is the limit. I'm going to show you different methods, just royal icing, no royal icing base. You can flood this if you like, and then in white, which would show up the green very nice. And then you can pipe on your elements, or you can use wafer paper and add it on there for a nice vintage paper feel. And that's what we're going for today. All right, let's get cracking. So one way to save a step, if you don't want to get the dusts, because I have a slew of them for different occasions. This is chocolate. This is cappuccino, which is a light beige. This is quite dark. This gives you a nice vintage feel to it. But you can also use a brown edible marker. That saves a step. What do I mean? Take your cookie cutter, if you have one, or just use a ruler that's clean. Just trace the inside. Now this is a very thick line. Not the nicest, but you have a whole sheet, so it's all good. Or you can turn it over and use the thin side. Again, I will link the description. Link for the pen is in the description box. All you need to do is hold it and you gently go around the inside. If it gives you a rough cut, a rough print, no problem. It doesn't even have to be a solid line because again, it's for a vintage feel and we're saving a step. So very different than this particular one. This might be a little bit dried out, but I'm not mad at it because now I can use my dusting on the edges, cut it out and then dust it. The options are limitless. If you want to cut it out, I like to do a rough first because this page is really hard to hold and show on the camera. So I'm going to put it aside. I'm going to cut out very rough. See, I didn't even get a good line on this side. Again, not mad at it. It just is. It's one way to do it. You can even cut inside of the line. We'll then hide most of the brown or whatever color you use. I'm using brown because that seems to be the aging color for paper. It also depends on the paper, but that's another discussion. I'm just cutting it out. This does not take long. For beginners who don't have a lot of the tools, this is the easiest. I find to use this a lot. This is a great kid-friendly cookie project as well. All right, just cutting out around. Even if you do a different shape, I'm going to make some rectangles. I'm also going to use just a swipe of royal icing as a background instead of wafer paper. Some don't like to eat this. It's not for everybody. It's chewy, unless it's super dried out, then it's brittle, but it's not everybody's cup of tea, and I appreciate that. These are just options. I just love the vintage look around the holidays, so you can see for reference it's going to be a little bit shorter. This one doesn't cover up the darkened bits, but I'm not mad at it. So what I can do is take the dusting powder, and go all around the cookie and make it look on purpose. If it's the same all around, it looks on purpose, right? Hide the mistakes. It's all good. Set this aside. Not a fan of this one. This is kind of sloppy, but practice. You can always turn it over. Good thing is it's two-sided. You can turn it over. So you have the bumpy side or the not bumpy side. Just turn it over. It hides it. So always use a paper towel when you're dusting because this will get everywhere and in places you may not want it to be. So again, this is a Nicholas Lodge collection, nicholaslodge.com to purchase these dusting colors. I will link that in the description box. Use a little bit. You can always add more. And I have a set of fluffy brushes. These are cosmetic brushes. This one is Wilton, but you can, oops. See, I have it everywhere already. Hardly started. Just get it off your fingers. That bugs me. Let's see. This is my set of cosmetic brushes. These are brand new, never been used for cosmetics, only for food. They are food safe because they're synthetic brushes. And I just had this for a long time, and you can clean them. Hand wash them. Don't pop them in the dishwasher. So fragile. All right. So how do you do dusting? Go across the edge. I don't know if you do paper crafts. It's similar to that, but don't use those tools. Separate tools for food. I'm just going around the edge. You'll catch. It gives you a bigger brush gives you a broad area. Not mad at it, but again, just use the edge mostly. We're not going towards the center. And it depends how much vintage look you want on it. So if I switch to a smaller brush, super small, and this is more stiff, this is Wilton, then I get a much darker line, but I have a bit more control because it's a smaller brush. A little bit. broadly. We're not going a whole lot into the center, and this is giving me a darker vintage look than originally. See the difference? It all depends on your taste. Again, it's your sugar art, do you? Picks up the variations in the paper, which I think is fun. And if you want it to match, just make sure you go around it again, because this is quite dark. Then go around the lighter side. You can always add more, but it's harder to take off. You can't take it off. Some cases you just cannot take it off. Right, see how fast that is? Now I have a vintage paper. Lovely. You can broadly go across, but I'm gonna leave it like that. That's one, and we hid the dark backside. Nice. I like this one. Go across the edge. So I'm mostly just dusting off of the edge. In fact, hardly on the paper at all, mostly on the paper towel. Don't load your brush up too heavy. It will be darker. And then when you have too much on, you're like, ooh, that's a bit dark. Too late. You can't erase it. Just press on. Now, if you want a darker edge on the line only, just run the side of the brush along the edge, and you'll get just the line on the edge of the paper. And hardly any on the surface of the paper. So wafer paper is made with a bunch of starches, and water is the enemy. Humidity is also not its friend. It will crinkle up. If that's what you want, then go for it. But just be mindful, wafer paper and water are not best friends. They have issues. So see the difference between the deep one and just the edge? Quite nice. Now, because I have this and I want to use it, just go through and add some inside of the perimeter. I have not loaded my brush, as you can see. I'm just using the residual color that's in the bristles. You can pick up a little if you want, but not doing it too much. With a smaller brush, this gives you a bit better control. Yeah, see, nice. So I may hide something over here because it's darker. If you can see that, but I am digging that one. And this is also on the ridge, the bumpy side, and this is on the flat side. So it will give you a different texture. Look. But this is the fast way to decorate cookies. Love it. Now, how about this one? This is kind of a parallelogram diamond. So you can do a sort of a square diamond shape, or you can do a circle. Again, it's up to you if you have a cutter, or if you have some shape, you can trace around a bottle of food color. All sorts of ways to do this without buying a whole bunch of tools. I'm gonna set these aside and be careful with this amount. If you tip it, it's going everywhere. I'm not gonna use the cappuccino because that's too light. I like the darker, more bold colors, in case you hadn't noticed. Now, what happens when I don't want to use paper? And I'll just swipe it on. Here's another way. Yes, this is a baby spoon. This is very stiff royal icing, fresh batch. Is that nice? Has some very nice royal icing for cookie decorating. They pre-colored for you. Win-win. I'm gonna get a brush. That's for food only. Get every little bit off. Distilled water. Or tap water. If you have filtered water, go for it. I'm going to use this to adhere the wafer paper too, but also I'm going to show you an alternate. If you want to put a base of color in front of between the green cookie and the green holly leaves, you can always strap it on. This is very loose. It's like 3 second, but it's not super watery. It's just loose. This is instead of flooding with a fuss of the piping bag. Nobody got time for that. You can, but you can do just as good a job as if you brush it on. Now, because this is loose, you see the ridges are disappearing. Because it's so loose with water, it's moving around on its own, and you can shake it a little, tap it to get the base flat. Now, you'd have to let this dry to do another coat to get it completely opaque, but there's a little bit of bleed through. I'm not mad at it, and I want it that way, but it's mostly white so that you can see the green cookie underneath, but also the green holly leaves and red, pink berries in this case. Now, I also want to adhere the paper to these, so let's plan it out a bit before we just slap it on there. That one, this one, make sure it mostly fits. Don't have a little weird angle, but that's okay. You can trim it off. See if it fits better the other way. Now, when you go to use this as the glue for your paper, it will take a minute, but it will also, if the royal icing is too wet, it will also make it curl. I won't be mad at that either. That's fun. Now I'm going to make this a little more abstract. It's a suggestion of paper. Do I like it that way. Maybe I like it this way a bit better. Off to the side. It's totally up to you. Do you? I like this way. Not like in this corner, but you can also turn it around, but then we lose the dusting. If you don't like this side, just turn it over and do it again. It's all good, but it will curl it. So I'm going to use my least favorite is this one. But the moisture in the royal icing will react interestingly with the paper. Let's see what happens. Press it down. I did not go all the way to the edge, so this will curl up. This is going to be fun. We'll set that aside. To the next one, put it in the center or to the edge, or you put it on the paper. But again, this is going to rob some of the water from the royal icing, so it will curl. If that's what you want, bingo. I forgot which way I had it, but that's okay. It's all good. See, it's curling? Because I put the royal icing on the back of the paper, now it's going to make it crunchy. And that is super curly. Look at that. Too curly. Press it down. You can even turn it over. And the weight of the cookie will help keep it down. So I'm just going to stick to putting it on the cookie. You can also use piping gel, like we used last time. Cookie number 3. That also works. I just want a little bit. I don't want a whole lot. This is hanging over the edge, but I'm not mad at it. And I have a little bit of playtime. Last one in this particular set. There we go. Now, this one is curling. This one is super curling, so I'm going to turn them over to dry a minute from the weight of the cookie. Oh, didn't glue you on. Good thing I checked. That's a lot. She's going to be super curly. Love it. All right. Now, because they are turned upside down, they'll need a little bit longer to dry because we are stopping the air getting to the wet part, the wet side. So, wow, that's lovely. But I don't want that much of a curl. Turn it over and wait a few minutes. Push all the way up. So there's nothing in the tip. Oh, very little. And then you cut an upside down V. Try and make it symmetrical. It's a little diamond. So what we're trying to achieve is this tip. It's a Wilton 366 or Teco 352, or the Wilton 352 is the smaller version of the big one. So this is super big. This will give you super big leaves. This will give you smaller ones, obviously, but you don't have to buy them at all. You can just cut your bag. So this will yield smaller than this tip, holly leaves and other leaves and petals and all kinds of goodies. Where did that piece go? I lost it somewhere. I'll find it. This is not on my cookie. So you don't cut it over your surface. So how do you use it? Just like you would these tips. You use it like a bird beak. To me, that's a bird beak. And you can use it this way, vertically or horizontal. It will give you a different type of leaf or petal. This is vertical. Start, squeeze, and just zhuzh it. Stop squeezing, pull. And if you drag the top of the bird beak into your icing, it'll cut off the tip. Let's do it again. Squeeze, zhuzh. You see there's a ridge. Stop squeezing and pull it out and you get a point. Now, if you turn it the other way, the bird beak is horizontal, you're going to get a different leaf. So your ridge is coming up. Doesn't work the same, but you get a different leaf. Don't really like it. I don't like it's an actual tip. I don't like it, but I use this tip for everything. Almost. A lot of leaves, short leaves, longer leaves, super short. Now, this is going to be very short for my cookie, and the cookies are about this size. So that's not big enough. So we'll cut it bigger. Now, the thing about cutting small is you can always cut more, but you can't put it back. So now we're going to cut a little bigger. I'm just using this pinky to steady the scissors because it's hard to do and keep it steady. Try and get it cut into the middle. We're aiming for the middle of the bag when it's flattened. Let's go up quite a bit. Try and get it the same, mostly the same. You see it's shorter on this side, so you can angle it a bit more and cut it. Now it's pretty close, right? And it's going to give us a bigger leaf or petal. Bird beak is vertical. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Stop squeezing, pull. And that's it, literally. Just practice a bunch of those on a piece of parchment or wax paper. They'll dry. This is royal icing, so it'll dry nicely. You can even take them off when they're dry and put them on your cookie as opposed to piping right on the cookie. This is fun. My favorite leaf. But if you want to buy all the things, sure, buy the leaf tips. Now, when you're not using your icing, make sure you cover the tip, especially if you're using these metal tips or tubes, as some brands call them. Fold up a damp cloth, and what I like to do is squeeze an amount out of the end, push it back, and then hide it under a cloth until you're ready. Now for coloring, I used a bit of Chef Master Leaf Green, and my absolute favorite by thesugarart.com is Master Elite Emerald. I got big color puppies because I use this for everything. I give a hint of a lighter green, but this is a brilliant color. It's powder, 100% edible, and I only cut a little bit out of the lid so I can sprinkle it in because a little bit goes a long way. Now this is, I don't mind the speckles in leaves because there are variations in leaves. You get variegated. You can put a tube of white, a line of white down here, darker green. You can dust it when it's dry. I love, so you don't even see it except for a little bit of striation in here. You see that little bit in the leaf? Probably can't because it's so shiny. But when it dries, we'll take another look. But I love that there's speckles. Now this will get darker as it develops. And also when the royal icing dries, it will also get darker. That's how it works. Buttercream does it too. Whee! I love doing this. We do it all day long. Now let's see where we are. A few minutes later. It's a little bumpy. Love it. It's a little curled on the edge. Loving that. Bumpy. Don't care. I'm going to cover it with the leaves and the sprinkle berries. I love that. It's a little bit cupped. Lifted. Love it. It's pretty flat. Love it. This one. Yeah. Good. Now it's time for leaves. All right. So if you're a little bit nervous, practice. I'm going to go right to it. I think I'll leave it that size. Now, which way are we going to go? So I want to bring it over this way, start this end and go that way. And there's 2 leaves, 4 holly, and then 3 berries. Usually, you can do a string of them if you like. Again, vertical, bird beak. Start, let it come out. Make it exaggerated, stop squeezing, and pull. Then you'll get the point. I'm going to go this direction. Let it gather. Squeeze. Gently, stop squeezing, and pull. You're using the tip. Okay, when it breaks, we'll cut that off. When you stop squeezing and you pull, you can use the tip to get it to where you want. Except this time, but I'm not mad at it. So the 3 berries generally go over here, and I have all this space. You can even write a tiny little message, make a smiley face, or leave it. Simple is sometimes good. Now, what kind of berries am I using? You can make red or pink royal icing. I have a series of sprinkles. You can see when they're all together, they are very different. So I like this pearlized one. I also like this flat pink. And you see there's darker, lighter. There's a pinky pink, and this is sort of a reddish pink. Some tweezers. This is my fingers. This goes very nice. And here's a darker pink. This also goes very nice. Here's the pearlized one. Gives it a little bit extra bling, but I'm going to use my sugarart.com edible white diamond dust, of course. Edible glitter. Decisions. It's a little flat compared to that one, so I think I'll go with these after all. So how do I do that? You can take a little dot, dip it in, or you could just stick it into your, you can dip it into some royal icing, get a tiny bit on the bottom, and squeeze it into the leaf that's still wet. Don't take too long to do this. Otherwise, you have to use something else to attach it. Now, I dropped it in my royal icing, of course, so I have some extra pearlized here. There, take some of that out. Done. Super fast and effective. These make great accompaniments to a bigger set. But you can make a bunch of these, have them in the freezer for when you need them. You can put something else on it. Now I'm going to fix that leaf later. I'm going to let it dry first, but what I'm going to do is pinch that off with these tweezers or fingers. If you had small fingers, there's several ways to do it. Set that aside. Next, back to always clean your tip. Otherwise, it's just messy. Bird beak, right? I'm going to make it go the other way, which is, you can just turn it around. I want the darker edge to show. Exaggerated. Stop squeezing. Pull. These are chubby leaves. Squeeze. Zhuzh. When you're, as long as you want, stop squeezing. Pull. And we'll fix that too. Now I'm going to put a little dot right here for my sprinkles. I'm going to show you what 2 looks like. It's weird. If that's what you like, go for it. I like 3. So nice. Can't decide which one I like better. The darker pink or the pearlized pink. I like both. Next. And you can keep going. You can do it on the top. Bird beak at the top. Didn't clean it off. Stop squeezing. Pull. Go down here. 5, 6, 7. Stop squeezing. Pull. 1, 2, 3. Goes fast. Clean it off. For beak. These are going to be smaller. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Stop squeezing, pull. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Stop squeezing, pull. Lay down a little bit of green right there. Put these smaller ones on. 2. Oopsie. 3. Not all sprinkles are the same size in the same bag. It's fine. Nice. Let's see. Clean it off. I don't know why I keep getting it. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pull. Let's go for this one. A little bit bigger surface so I can use the bigger sprinkles. Clean off your tweezers. Just make sure it's touching royal icing, then it won't roll off. Squeeze them together if you don't like it. They usually grow in a cluster of 3. Last one for this set. Now, I think I'm going to still put them here to go that way because I like the starkness of the thicker royal icing right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Pull. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pull. Done. So fast. Oh, I think I want pearl. Decisions. What are these? Whoopsie. They can get away from you. Yeah, love it. Nice. Well, that's how fast they come together. That's it. That's all the cookies I have. But I love the vintage finish on the paper. Can't forget the sugarart.com edible glitter, white diamond. Get a little extra sparkle. Oh, yeah. All about the sparkle. It's clogged. Just give it a tap on the bottom. Look, so sparkly. Loving it. Let me know in the comments which pro tip you like best and which sprinkle color you like best. I still can't decide. Thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. See you next time. Bye.